Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Marama Fox.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've listened intently, both here and in my office, to the debates that have raged about this bill. There is no question that many of the members who have spoken have offered good advice to the Minister. The Minister has listened to some of that, and we're going to have a reduced period of time to review this bill, given that it is going through under urgency, given that we are rushing to put something in place that should have been put in place many years ago, in fact, decades ago. Mr. Speaker, I think that the purpose of this bill, as widely discussed last night, is narrow. And in fact, I'm grateful that it is narrow, that actually we're going to deal with the justice aspect of this for parole and parole only. Some of the people who are returning to us have been treated poorly. That's been widely talked about, have been treated harshly. And in fact, if the 6-month rule applies, then those people who have been in detention centres for 7 months, 8 months and longer, this needn't apply to them unless they are seriously offending. Now, some people have talked about the DNA swabs and the fingerprinting, again, applying only to those of who it would have applied to here in New Zealand under similar conditions for similar offences. So I'm glad that there is a narrow scope. We've talked about the people of questionable character, have no idea why they are being deported merely for associating. One of those people, Korutini, as we've highlighted in the past, was picked up visiting someone in prison. Picked up visiting someone. If that's considered association, then we should be warning all of our Kiwis now not to go visiting anybody in prison for fear that they'll be deported. In fact, my Facebook has been rife with instances and questions of people concerned about this legislation, about what's going on over there, whether or not coming home at Christmas time will see them stopped at the border and sent back. So I am glad that there is a narrow scope here. I'm glad that the Minister does not have extraordinary powers, and that the courts will be the adjudicators of whether or not somebody who comes back after 6 months being released in prison will then need to have these parole conditions placed on them. I wouldn't like to see any of those people already harshly treated come back and be harshly treated again. This is about the safety of our communities. For that purpose, we are happy to support the bill, but also because the Minister herself has made the attempts to come and discuss the issues that we have had with the proposed draft that we got to see, and to make some small amendments here and there to ensure that it is as reasonable and fair as we are able to do. I take on board the points that the opposition have made around the urgency and the time, if we were able to give it some consideration, at least go to select committee stage, and maybe we could have crafted this and taken on board the opinions of those people in the community who do work in this space. I have been given assurances and have seen some of the work that's been going on with rehabilitation, and it's something that as a party we have been very concerned about, hence the reason we've established things like whare oranga ake for the rehabilitation and to reduce recidivism of offenders. I want to support Matiria's comments around that rehabilitation to ensure that these people coming back...
Order. Can I just ask the member to refer properly to other members?
Thank you. That those people coming back will be adequately supported, not just through parole conditions, but through rehabilitation and support services, knowing that they're being alienated from their families. The PARS group that the other member has spoken about, they have been doing an amazing job, and they need to be commended for that job. We as a government need to ensure that groups like they are also supported post putting this bill through. I want to assure communities that we have given it great consideration albeit in the condensed time. And this is for the safety of our communities. And while we've been loud about those people coming back for minor offences, we do recognise that there are people also caught up for major offences, and they will need our support, our monitoring and our care, and therefore we support this bill. Thank you.
Alfred Naro.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.